Greetings from Elite English Academy, Madurai. Welcome to the online classes for PGTRB English Preparation Series 2020. Dear friends, in this video, I am going to discuss Geoffrey Chaucer's Prologue to Canterbury Tales, lines 1 to 117, which includes the introduction, Knight's Tale, Squire's Tale, and the Yeoman. First, let's have a brief note on Chaucer, who lived between 1342 and 1400. He was the greatest English poet of the Middle Ages. He is considered as the father of English literature. Important information for NET exam as well as TRB exam. His biological father is John Chaucer, who was a wine merchant. Chaucer is primarily known for his The Canterbury Tales. He was the first person to be buried in Poets' Corner of Westminster Abbey. William Caxton, who invented printing press, the first English printer, right? He printed the first two folio of editions of the Canterbury Tales in 1478 first. Then later he received some complaints from readers that the original that they have differs from his printing. Then he reprinted with the corrections in 1483. Then he follows one important technique called chronographia in this book. What is that? In the course of the narration, I'll introduce. Further introduction about Chaucer. The language used by Chaucer is Middle English, which is East Midland dialect, which is popular dialect in Middle English at that time. Regarding his education, he did not have any formal education. He learned through nature and by observing people. As far as his work experience is concerned, at the age of 17, he worked as a page boy, that is bell boy, in the court of Gaunt, so that is the third son of Edward III. During the regime of John of Gaunt, he occupied some government positions. He was in the diplomatic mission to Italy. Then there he met Petrarch and Boccaccio, and he was very much influenced by these two writers' works. Then later he served as controller of customs of wool and petty custom. From this life story, we understand that even during his lifetime, Chaucer was respected and he was leading a very good life. Let's have a brief note on the prologue. Why prologues are written? For example, if you take Shakespeare, Shakespeare has written any prologue to his work. Whereas during the Middle Ages, it is the custom the writers used to write prologues for their big works. The author aimed to capture the goodwill of its auditors and readers, to lay out what is to follow, and to apologize for inadequacies. Which means there are three purposes. First, it is an appeal to the printers and the readers. Second, the writer, the author details what you can expect in the main work. Third one, it is a formal apology to the audience, that is the readers. If there is any mistake, you please ignore it. So these are the three reasons why the prologues are written. When prologue opens, it is springtime, month of April. The original plan of writing 120 stories. Each characters to tell 4 stories, 2 on the way to Canterbury and 2 on return. At the same time, he was able to complete only 24 stories. So when the characters are there, lots were used to choose pilgrims for telling stories. Then the form here, so when the prologue opens, it opens in Tabard Inn, a tavern in Southwark near London. So 29 pilgrims plus one, the narrator or the author. So they are going to a pilgrim. So it is detailed description of 27 pilgrims are available, and the second nun and another nun's priest, their descriptions are not available. Regarding the destination, all the people, they are going to the shrine of Saint Thomas Becket. Saint Thomas Becket is the this particular story is referred in T.S. Eliot's Murder in the Cathedral. So the destination is Canterbury, as mentioned earlier. So Harry Bailey is the owner of Tabard Inn. Just imagine a situation. All the people, all the travelers, pilgrims, they happen to assemble in Tabard Inn. So the owner, Harry Bailey, suggests the idea of telling stories. For best story, he is ready to offer free meal at Bailey's Tavern. So when Chaucer completed this, he was able to write 20,000 lines, and the prologue, the syllabus given, it consists of 856 lines. Chaucer is known for his humor and personal talk. He represented the comedy of life in its all forms. So how the writer approaches life, he just approaches the life from a very simple point of view. All pilgrims of this book, Canterbury Tales, represent the whole of English society. English society is known for its class differences, from the king, queen to the lost layman. So here each character represents his own or her own state of being in the society. The critics say there are three qualities that are outstanding in his writings. First, humor. Second, understanding of human beings. Third, an acuteness of observation, which means a humor which is sometimes gentle, sometimes sly, often satiric. See, the humor is very gentle, sometimes very sharp, sometimes satiric. He criticizes the social evils and falsities of the society. So he does not laugh at others, mostly he laughs at himself. So quite frequently he is the butt of his own jokes. So that shows his honesty. Then an understanding of human beings which is warm and compassionate but never sentimental. So here he is the person who stands away from the problem of the writing. So he does not become sentimental, but at the same time, see, he is empathizing, he is compassionate towards the characters. And he is best known for his acuteness of observation, which is unfailing in its ability to discern the most significant detail. So he does not miss even a small detail about a character. To conclude this prologue introduction, he makes a very interesting thing. The critics say it would be a big mistake to consider the prologue as merely an introduction. It is a mature and highly finished work in its own right. So when you read Prologue, so you'll get the essence of the entire Canterbury Tales. A brief note on the Middle English. Middle English is slightly different from the English that we use at present. There are three suggestions. First, the readers are asked to read out to us a certain meter and rhyme. If you want to enjoy the meter and rhyme of this book, we have to read aloud. This also helps with meaning and with tone. So it is very important, if you read it aloud sometimes, you will get the rhythm as well as the meaning that is intertwined with meter and rhythm. Second, pronounce all consonants fully. So this is the way during the Middle Ages words were pronounced. So please make a reference in this syllabus. The eighth unit is language and linguistics. One of the topics demands you to learn the difference between the Middle English, that is the growth of English at different ages. In the past, there were questions to give the equivalent of Middle English to modern English. So if you read Canterbury Tales text, so you will become familiar with some of the words that are differently used with different spelling and meaning. So this will help you for that. For example, during the Middle Age time, K is pronounced. So, for example, how will you pronounce Knight? We pronounce it night. Whereas during those time, K and H has to be pronounced night. Like that, it was pronounced. We need not go for such attempt while we are reading. Third, change of meaning. There are some words and expressions that have changed its use over the period of time. For example, one line is taken from the prologue. The very perfect, gentle night. Like that is the way we have to pronounce. So that means true, complete, and noble. Perfect, normally we call it as true, but it has to be understood like that. But normally people understand very perfect and soft hearted. So, like that, there are some changes in the meaning. So, we have to be aware of these changes of meaning in the modern time if we want to understand the prologue completely. The 24 tales are listed here: Knight's Tale, Miller's Tale, Reeve's Tale, Cook's Tale, Man Sergeant of Law's Tale, Wife of Bath's Tale, Friar's Tale, Summoner's Tale, Clerk's Tale, Merchant's Tale. It goes like that. 24 tales are available. So in this particular video, I'm going to discuss along with introduction Knight's Tale, Squire's Tale, and Yeoman's Tale. So these are the three tales so which occupies line between 1 and 117. First, lines 1 to 42, introduction. There are two fonts of sentences. White font represents the original text of Chaucer, which is highly unreadable. It is in Middle English. The yellow font represents the modern English. There are so many versions are available. I have used one of the standard versions. Now let's enter into the poem. So though there is a difficulty in reading the original text, if you read the revised versions, it will be very easy and interesting also. There are not much poetic devices, but he is known for the characterization of the different persons. First, when April with its sweet smelling showers has pierced the drought of March to the root. From the opening lines, we come across when Canterbury Tales prologue opens, it is April. Its sweet smelling showers. Showers rain. In the month of April in England, there used to be showers. Showers has pierced the drought of March. So the beauty of the poet's language is surfaced here. So when the rain falls, it is quite normal. But the poet says the raindrops has pierced the drought of March. In the month of March, there was heavy drought. So there was no rain, no water. So when the April shower comes, so it pierces through the drought of March to the root. It goes to the deep roots and bathes every vein in such liquid. So it is very beautifully written by the poet. The raindrops goes deeper and bathe every vein. There is the roots of every plant in such liquid by which power the flower is created. So as a result, once the plants receive the water, it is creating flower. So from this, what the writer tries to convey, because of the April shower, the flowers are blossoming. When the west wind also with its sweet breath. So in the original text, the word Sapphirus is given. Sapphirus is the god of west wind. Please make a note of it. From exam point of view, this is important. When the west wind also with its sweet breath. So the wind is also favorable in the month of April. In every wood and field has breathed life into the tender new leaves. Here, because of the rain, because of the shower, because of the west wind, so there is freshness everywhere. So it's a breathe life into the tender new leaves. So the boughs, plants that shed leaves earlier in the month of March, now they have started giving new life to new leaves. So the month of April has brought spring season as well as new life to the plants. And the young sun has run half its course in Aries. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac in mid-April. So Aries marks the beginning of spring season. Please make a note of it. Aries, this refers to the first zodiac, the first sign of the season spring. Ram refers to that, the first sign of the zodiac. Has run half its course in Aries, so it is just the spring season has just begun. And small fowls make melody. Fowls, it is a hen-like bird, which is domestic bird. It is bigger than hen. Even those domestic birds, they make noise that looks like melody. And small fowls make melody. Those that sleep all the night with open eyes, so nature incites them in their hearts. So during that spring season, what happens? Most of them, they that sleep all the night with open eyes. Two meanings we can take. One is they don't sleep. Another one, when somebody sleeps, it is like they get a death-like sleep because of the beautiful season and gentle west wind. So nature incites them in their heart. So in the month of April, the season spring touches the hearts of ordinary human beings. Then folk long to go pilgrimages. So it is the time in which the people long to go for. There is long like to go on pilgrimages. From this we understand it is quite normal in England in the month of April at the commencement of spring season people go for pilgrimages and professional pilgrims to seek foreign shores. Palmers, this is the original text used. Palmers refers to professional pilgrims, the devotees. Seek foreign shores. People go to different countries also as part of pilgrimage. To distant shrines, small temple, right, small churches. To distant shrines, know in various lands, and especially from every shire's end, so from every place end of England to Canterbury, they travel. So here, from London to Canterbury, they are traveling. Almost everyone in England, they long to visit Canterbury to seek the holy blessed martyr. So the martyr refers to Thomas Becket. To seek the holy blessed martyr who helped them when they were sick. So this is one of the important aspects of the social life of England. So in general, people whenever they have difficulty, they just pray to God. So God, please give me this. I'll come and offer this like that. So like that, in India, very often we go to temples and churches. We offer our hair. We don't offer our head. We just offer our hair because that grows back again. So now here in England, it is a custom. Many people they pray to Thomas Becket, the martyr, and they visit Canterbury to offer their prayers and sacrifices. It happened that in the season on one day in Southwark at the Tabard Inn as I lay. So the narrator, most probably the poet, he's staying in Tabard Inn in Southwark. Southwark is the place nearby London. So the inn name is Tabard Inn. From competitive exam point of view, this is important. Ready to go on my pilgrimage to Canterbury with a very devout spirit, with a very honest and devoted spirit, the protagonist or the writer or the narrator is ready to start the pilgrimage to Canterbury. At night had come into the hostelry. Hostelry, it is the inn. Inn in the Old English, it is known as hostelry, the place where one can stay. So from this page, the important thing is Southwark and Tabard Inn. Well, 9 and 20 in a company. So 29, 9 and 20 in a company of various sorts of people, by chance fallen in fellowship. So by chance, 29 different people, they have come together and are staying in this inn. And they were all pilgrims who intended to ride toward Canterbury. So the basic information is given by the poet here. So 29 members, excluding the narrator, they are there in the Tabard Inn on their way to Canterbury. The bedrooms, so there is chambers, right? In Middle English, chambers. The bedrooms and the stables were spacious. Stables, the place where the horses will be kept, and we were well accommodated in the best way. So in this line, the poet gives credit to the Tabard Inn. And in brief, when the sun was gone to rest, I had so spoken with every one of them that I was of their fellowship straightway, and made agreements to rise early, to take our way where I tell you. So now the narrator realizes that there are some companions. He goes and speaks with everyone, and I was of their fellowship straight away. He just immediately developed the relationship and confessed his own journey. So just they agreed that tomorrow, the following day, we can start early. But nonetheless, while I have time and opportunity, before I proceed further in this tale. So here he is, before he proceeds with the tale, he is going to say something. It seems to me in accord with reason to tell you all the circumstances of each of them as it seemed to me. So the objective of the prologue is given here. So what is that? To tell you all the circumstance of each of them, to give you the background of each and every person, character here as it seemed to me, and who they were, and giving the information who they are, their social status, and of what social rank, and also what clothing that they were in. So which dress they are giving. Please remember why Chaucer is giving more importance to clothing. See, first giving their name, their background, that is absolutely fine. But why should he talk about their clothing? So one important information, please note, during the Middle Ages, if an ordinary man is wearing the dress of a high social rank person, it is a punishable offense. Even that person will be sentenced to death. So this falsity is pointed out by Chaucer in this line. And also what clothing that they were in. And at a night, then will I first begin. The poet says the first description will be about a knight. So knight we know, so the person who is valiant, who is just taking part in different battles for the sake of country or religion. So from the first part we understand the story has begun. The narration has begun. Before we enter into the next part, so let's have a small review about the introduction. So the action begins at April. So there is a reference to Sapphires, the god of west wind, Aries, so the first zodiac. Then the journeys from England to Canterbury. So all the characters are staying in Tabard in Southwark. The number of passengers 29 plus 1. The 1 is related to that person. Then, so at the beginning, I was giving you some detail about chronographia. In the introductory part, The poet has used the technique of chronographia. What is chronographia? The clauses address in turn the meteorological, vegetable, animal, and human. Please make a note of it. The information about meteorological, vegetable, animal, and human. The introduction of the introduction of setting at the beginning of a work is called as chronographia. Right? Chaucer has effectively used the technique of chronographia to introduce the setting and all his characters in the first part of the prologue. So, to give more detail, a literary setting in time and place, Chaucer had read such elevated opening to many of the atones of Dante's Divine Comedy and he is imitating them. So, similar kind of setting introduction is found in Dante's Divine Comedy. So, with that, the first introductory part, lines from 1 to 42, is over. Now we are entering into the description of the individuals. The Knight, lines 43 to 78. A knight there was, and that was a worthy man, who from the time that he first began to ride out, he loved chivalry. So the first person is knight, a soldier, right? A soldier of the country of religion, Christianity, who takes part in the war, holy war between Christians and non-Christians, who from the time that he first began to ride out, he loved chivalry. He likes war. He likes war. Fidelity and good reputation, generosity and courtesy. These are the characteristics of a knight. What are they? Fidelity, that means truth, and good reputation, good name among the people, and generosity, he has to be very generous, and courtesy, he has to be just courteous, he has to respect others. So these are the qualities of a knight. He was very worthy in his Lord's war. In his Lord's war refers to the holy war. And for that he had ridden, no man farther, as well in Christendom as in heathen lands. Christendom means Christian countries, right? So as well in Christian, where did he take part? So he was taking part in wars in favor of Christian kings, Christian belief, as in heathen lands. Heathen, so non-believers of Christianity. All non-believers of Christianity are called as heathen. So in foreign countries, he just worked or fought in favor of Christianity, and was ever honored for his worthiness. He was honored for his worthiness because he was brave and he won many battles. He was at Alexandria when it was won. So hereafter the writer is giving a list of places where this soldier, knight, was battling. Probably based on that there may be a question. He was at Alexandria when it was won. Alexandria is part of Roman Empire. He had sat very many times in the place of honor. That means, so very often he was praised. He won the war above knights of all nations in Prussia. In Prussia also he won the war. He had campaigned in Lithuania and in Russia. No Christian man of his rank so often. So from this the writer tries to convey, more than any Christian man, this knight has served Christianity in a better way by taking part in war. Here there is a slight satire and humor. So there is no Christian man of his rank so often. So that means many people call themselves as the knight, soldiers of God, soldiers of Christianity, but they do not take part in war. Whereas this man, the knight, unlike others, he is taking part in war truly and won many wars. Also, he had been in Granada at the siege of Algeria, and had ridden in Morocco. So these are the different places: Granada, Algeria, and Morocco. These are the different places he won. He was at Ayas and at Atalia when they were won, and in the Mediterranean he had been at many a noble expedition. Expedition means journey. So wherever he went, wherever he fought, he was winning, and he was continuously taking part in different journeys. So here the poet points out the thirst of the English people for war. So according to Christianity, the preaching of Jesus Christ is love thy enemy. But whereas here he points out how the Christians are mad after war. So it is a social satire of that particular time. He had been at 15 mortal battles. Possible question: how many battles were won by this man? 15 important battles, and fought for our faith at Clemson, 3 times in formal duels, and each time slain his foe. So it so happened 3 times he had to face the foe directly, but every time he just won. The same worthy knight had also been at one time with the Lord of Balat against another heathen in Turkey. The Lord of Balat, he was the ruler of Turkey. So 1 to 1 he fought with him and won. And evermore he had an outstanding reputation, and although he was brave, he was prudent. This is one of the important qualities of the knight. Though he was very brave, he was very humble, he was adjustable, he was helping others, and of his deportment as meek as is a maid. He was very humble and meek, humble as a maid. A simile is used. He never yet said any rude word. So that means, so those who are occupying the higher social rank, their language used to be very rude. So it is a social criticism. Whereas the knight, he never yet said any rude word. In all his life, unto any sort of person, he has never uttered any bad or rude word. He was a truly perfect noble knight. He was a trustful noble knight. But to tell you of his clothing, his horses were good, but he was not gaily dressed. So this is one of the important points to be noted. As I pointed out in the introduction, the dress code is very much followed in English society. So the knight is expected to dress in a very good way. But whereas the poet says his horses were good. So that means the horses, they are neatly decorated, but he was not gaily dressed, that is attractively dressed. So this shows how the true knights are taken care in English society. So the kings used to get the services of the people, but at the same time they are not respecting, or they are not giving due respect to the knights who have served the kingdom. So it is a social criticism. He wore a tunic of coarse cloth. Fustian. So actually, in the original language, it is given as fustian. Fustian is a kind of the duel. You might have studied Ivanhoe. In Ivanhoe, there will be a duel between two persons with a long spear. They fight. So like that, he wore a tunic of coarse cloth. So that is worn by soldiers, all stained by his coat of mail. So that means he has come to the journey, he has come to the pilgrimage immediately after returning from the war. For he was recently come back from his expedition and went to do his pilgrimage. So here another very important aspect is the war between Christians and non-Christians to establish the religion. So that itself is a pilgrimage. Whereas this man, this knight, he takes part in the war, win the war for Christianity, for the kingdom. At the same time, he is also on his journey to the pilgrimage or to meet the martyr Thomas Becket. This shows the important thing. The war is different from the pilgrimage. But at the same time, the rulers are cheating the people. The war is equal to pilgrimage. So to conclude this part, so this particular part talks about the peculiarities of the knight. To review this part, the qualities of a knight, so truth and honor, freedom and courtesy. He took part in wars. In Alexandria war took place in 1365. Prussia, Lithuania, Russia, Granada, Algeria, Morocco, Italia, Mediterranean, Irish. So he took part in 15 battles across the world. So against Cletion, he took part in 3 duels, so three fights. In all the three, he won. It is like in the Ivanhoe, two persons fight together. No, other soldiers will not fight. Only the leaders will fight. In which thrice he won. His characters: he was brave but prudent. His cloth very ordinary. Please remember, as he pointed out in the introduction, he will give who it is, the social rank, characteristics, and clothing. Now we are moving to the next part. Line 79 to 100. This square, it has to be pronounced as square. With him there was his son, a young squire. A squire is a person who is on the making of a knight. A squire is also a soldier, gentleman, takes part in the war and does something in favor of the country. So a squire later will become a knight. So this square is the son of the knight described earlier. With him there was his son, a young squire, a lover and a lively bachelor. A lively bachelor, with locks curled as if they had been laid in a curler. So he has locks hair, right? Hair, curled hair, curly hair. He was 20 years of age, I guess. So the poet gives an approximate age of the person 20. Of his stature, he was of moderate height. So the height of the square is moderate and wonderfully agile. Agile means very active. Though he was moderate height, very active and of great strength. He is a person with great strength. And he had been for a time on a cavalry expedition. So he has been on a cavalry. So he has been on a place to different places journey where there are battles in Flanders, in Arotis, and Picardy. These are the places where he went and took part in different wars and conducted himself well for so little a space of time. So within a short span of time, the square has conducted himself well and took part in different wars and served the country and Christianity in hope to stand in his lady's good graces. So here this is the punchline of the right. So why he does all these things? See, English people are known for their social grace. They need recognition. To achieve name, they do anything. So this young man, he has taken part in different wars, this and that. For what reason? In hope to stand in his lady's good graces, so that he can impress his lady. His lady, probably his lady love. He was embroidered as if it were a mead. So, well, please make a note of it. Now he is talking about the square's dress. The dress is ornamental, embroidered as if it were a mead. Mead, it is a beautiful decoration. Normally, MEAD refers to a mix of liquor with honey and water, all full of fresh flowers. And one more thing is, mead refers to meadows also. See, both are good things here. He was embroidered, his dress was embroidered as if it were a meadow, all full of fresh flowers, white, and red. Possible multiple choice questions. His dress was filled with the colors of white and red. Singing he was, or fluting all the day. So this young man, the squire, he's singing all the day and he was playing the flute. Flute, the musical instrument. He was he was as fresh as is the month of May. So it is the simile, open comparison. The square is compared to the fresh month of May. His gown was short with long and wide sleeves. So it is the typical dress code in those times for the soldiers. His gown was short with long and wide sleeves. He well knew how to sit on horse and handsomely ride. So here, slightly in a humorous way, the poet points out that this man knows how to impress others by riding on the horse. He says he well knew how to sit on horse and handsomely ride. He knew how to make songs and well compose. He is good at language also. Joust and also dance and well draw and write. Joust, joust. So look at the equivalent of the past and present. Joust, again he knows how to fight and also dance and well draw and write. He knows to draw and he knows to write. He loved so passionately that at night time he slept no more than does a nightingale. So here the poet points out how the young men are spending their time in those times. So mostly they are wide awake in the night thinking of the lady love. He says he loved so passionately. So he loved someone so passionately that at night time he slept no more than does a nightingale. Even a nightingale, the bird will sleep sometime. But whereas this gentleman, he does not sleep at all. Courteous he was, humble, and willing to serve. These are the characteristics of this square. He was very courteous, very respectful to others, very humble, and he is ready to help others. And carved before his father at the table. But I say the last line is the punchline. See, so far the poet has been describing this man's bravery, how he rides, how he draws, how he rides horses, this and that. Finally, he says, and carved before his father at the table. So, two meanings we can get. One is he is just very meek in front of the father, and he's just carved. He can be spotted always with the father. Let's recall what are the important points we discussed in the square. He is a lovely bachelor, son of the knight. He has curly locks. His age is around 20. He has moderate height but with great strength. His dress is embroidered like a meadow of red and yellow flowers. He wears a short gown but with big sleeves, but he is humble and willing to serve. These are the important points we have to remember about the square. Now we are moving to the next part. Yeoman. Yeoman means ordinary man. Layman. He had a yeoman and no more servants. Please remember, all these three characters are interlinked. That's why I chose to introduce all the three. The knight, his son, and their servant, the yeoman. So all these three are part of the pilgrimage. He had a yeoman and no more servants. So normally the knights used to have more servants to carry this and that, but whereas the knight has his own son as well as one servant at that time, for it pleased him so to travel. So he is very willing to travel. And he, that is the yeoman, was clad in coat and hood of green. Clad is the verb, right? Clad, cloth. Clad means cloth, verb. So he's clothed in, he is dressed in coat. He's wearing a coat and hood of green. So the hood refers to the we just cover the cloth with which we cover our head. So that is green. A sheaf of peacock arrows. Sheaf means bundle. Bundle of peacock arrows. Peacock arrows means here in those days when they just prepare arrows. So the next one edge, the sharper edge, the other edge they have peacock feather attached so that it will go quickly with a noise, noise making. So he has a bundle of peacock arrows, bright and keen. He is very keen, very curious. He carried under his belt very properly. He well knew how to care for his equipment as a yeoman should. So one important thing pointed out here is he is not a soldier who is carrying, whereas he is carrying the bow, arrow, everything for the sake of his own master, the knight and the squire. Here, the last line, look at that. It is a serious social criticism. He well knew how to care for his equipment as a yeoman should. So that means at any circumstance, he should not use these war weapons. He has to carry all these things. So, according to the section of the society, each one is allotted a particular work. The people are expected to carry out only their duties. His arrows did not fall short because of drooping feathers. So drooping feathers, feathers refers to the peacock feathers. So he kept it correct. And in his hand he carried a mighty bow. So here the knight's bow he was carrying, big bow. He had a close cropped head. It is a humor. He had a close cropped head. Close cropped head means the head with short hair. Normally, the word cropped is used for reaping, right? Reaping the grains. But the poet says he had a close cropped head, almost a head with no hair, with a brown face. Brown face refers to the person's face who is beaten by heat, the person who is found always under the sun. He well knew all the practice of woodcraft. So this person is good at woodcraft. He wore an elegant archer's wrist guard upon his arm. So, like an archer, he is having a leather guard, leather protection material on his arm, and by his side a sword and a small shield. So, beside him, he has on one side of his body, he has a sword, right? Sword, the weapon, and a small shield. So, all these things belong to his master. And on that other side, an elegant dagger. What is the difference between a dagger and a sword? Dagger is also a kind of weapon which is longer, well ornamented, and sharp as the point of a spear. The dagger is as sharp, it is a simile, well ornamented and sharp as the point of a spear. Spear, so a kind of weapon which has very sharp edge. A Christopher medal of bright silver on his breast. He is wearing Christopher medal. It is a Christian medal. He carried a horn. So a horn which is used to give signal during the wartime. He carried a horn. The shoulder strap was green. He was a forester, truly as I guess. Like the previous two sections, in the last line, the slight humor of the poet is revealed. So he was a forester. Why he uses the word forester? Forester means one who travels in forest, one who loves forest, one who loves to work in forest, one who stays in forest. Why does he say he is a forester? Because all the things he is wearing that is in green. So the poet calls him as a forester. To recall some of the things about the yeoman, he was the only servant of the knight. He carries the bow and arrow and all the necessary things for the knight. He His dress is of a yeoman. According to his level, he is wearing the dress. He has a close cropped head and he is wearing Christopher medal. So these are the important details you have to remember. A few more similes are available in this part. Dear friends, so far you listened to the introductory part of the prologue and the detailed discussion on the three characters. I hope it is useful to you. If you find it useful, please like and share it among your friends. If you wish to join the course, feel free to call 6381458485. The detailed discussion of all the 852 lines are available in the main course. Thank you. All the best.